to own the chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
Oh my God, are you seeing this shit, bro? Tesla closed at $695. What the hell is going on?
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
Now with IBM getting here, I think it's just going to come more to the forefront, and people are going to get more and more eyeballs on Salesforce. We should see a really nice move.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
We got D's nuts in the crew. Every crew needs D's nuts. You know what D's nuts' #1 holding is? Big C.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
Damn. We're good now. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Chaos. We're a little bit disorganized today. What's going on? My name is Brad. That guy over there is Fat Man Zoom. Today, we're talking about two things, Fat Man Zoom. We're obviously, you can kind of see the title, what we're going to be talking about. Well, why don't you give the folks something about exactly a little bit more on what it is about PENN and Netflix we're going over.
Yeah, so earnings today after hours on Netflix. We made our prediction for Stock Watch Sunday. We'll bring those back up. That's going to be after hours, so we'll get into that. But more importantly, the news we've been waiting for, which is the Michigan Gaming Control Board.
Yes.
So that news came today, right on schedule. So we were expecting it today. Was sort of the last day. We found out about that. We'll sort of touch base on what you need to know regarding the launch of online gaming in Michigan, as well as what it means to our to the gaming stocks as a whole.
Hold on, there's still no sound.
PENN, which is our famous one.
Is there still no sound? It's not. I don't understand. There's still no sound.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, primarily PENN is the one we're really focusing on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. So, and I think there's a couple of reasons why PENN's been moving and not so much DraftKings. And have you seen some of the other PENN news that came out today as well with the Barstool Sportsbook and how it fared in Pennsylvania this past month? Did you catch that?
Yeah. Well, I caught your tweet, which said it led Pennsylvania as far as the sports book's concerned. And yeah, I mean, potentially that could be it. But yeah, DraftKings isn't moved that much. I mean, PENN moved down earlier today.
Yeah.
And it was actually lagging behind the other gaming stocks. GIN had a nice move. MGN had a nice move. DraftKings hasn't necessarily got bounced back. However, it's kind of just sitting in a channel. I think that sorry, my fault. It did drop down earlier, but overall, I'm not necessarily worried about DraftKings. But we said this for a while. PENN below 100 is sort of a steal. DraftKings below 50, I feel the same way about DraftKings. So DraftKings has kind of been choppy. It had moved up last week, only to kind of start coming back down. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I mean, with PENN, they had that, and then they also had Barstool actually also signed on another huge influencer. It's huge on Twitch and huge on Twitter too. Has 1.7 million subscribers on Twitter alone. So that's just another thing in the I guess. Cap for Barstool, and just more viewers, more stoolies on their side. It's just going to be, I don't know. I still can, we talked about this, and there was a reason we put it on Stock Watch Sunday, but it's just cool to see there's more than one catalyst that could be driving the stock up.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't even think the move yet has been made as far as Michigan's concerned.
Yeah.
Michigan officially will launch on Friday. They just announced today that the date was Friday. So they're 9 licenses that they gave out, Penn including one of them. Obviously, DraftKings, FanDuel. But there are 9 total that were given the licenses. So they will be able to basically take bets, which is perfect timing because we obviously have the championship games this weekend. And then we have the Super Bowl, obviously, which is, I don't know if it's official, but I feel like it's, if not the biggest, one of the biggest betting days of the year. I feel like it's the biggest betting day of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
The Super Bowl? Yeah, probably. I mean, I would imagine that's probably the biggest day. And it'd be interesting. I mean, obviously, Penn National has kind of overtaken Pennsylvania as far as, volume and how they were able to perform in Pennsylvania. I think that we'll probably see something very similar, and I almost imagine the market, them kind of like being even further ahead in Michigan than they would be in Penn when it comes to the overall market in this space.
Yeah, we think they should be the leader. If they're not the leader in Michigan, they won't be the leader anywhere else.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
right.
Pretty much the sentiment. And I think that when they do lead in Michigan, when those numbers come out, it's probably too late to get into Penn. I mean, I don't know if it's ever too late, but you're going to be wishing you got in earlier.
Yeah.
There's just a whole bunch of reasons why Penn will dominate that market. But I want to be clear. Listen, you guys do your due diligence. Pick your favorite one of the gaming stocks. I don't want you could make the argument that Penn's too hot. While I wouldn't necessarily agree, I would understand the argument. And I think there's a really good case for other gaming stocks. You just got to know which one you're going to go with. I don't want you to sit here and be like, oh, because Own the Chaos said Penn, right, I'm going Penn. Somebody said DraftKings, PW Coaching said DraftKings will hit $70 and by the summer. Number one, I think you're probably right. And number two, if that's the one you believe in, go with that one. So, I feel like we talk about what our favorites are, but I want to be clear, guys. Like, I think DraftKings is okay to play, and I think it's actually at a good level. GIN's doing really well today. We don't love all of these other ones, but they're definitely, I think there's just room to run for the entire industry as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, looking at DraftKings, it's down 4.5%. I would venture to say this is probably a really good dip grab. If it does come back down and settle back down around its support at around 51 flat, then maybe think about picking some up. But it seems as if this sell-off is a little bit unwarranted, but I imagine that a lot of it has to do with all the good things that are going on with Penn. I'm sure it doesn't help them that, that Penn actually outpaced everybody in Pennsylvania, and it looks as if they might be doing it for Michigan too. But I agree, if DraftKings is your one, then go after that one. I mean, let's not also discount some of the other grants that were given, which is Wynn Resorts, MGM. Even Golden Nugget was in there too. So Wynn Resorts is actually green on the day. So there's definitely some other options out there. We just like to share which one's our favorite one, give our reasons why. But I think just about anything in the space that has a decent balance sheet will probably end up moving higher, leading into the middle to end of the year.
Yeah, Ross Matthews says Penn is a better stock, but DraftKings is a better buy right now. I can only
that's a good argument. I think
probably thinking what's that?
I think that's a good argument to make. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, I presume you're saying that because you feel like Penn is closer to highs, whereas DraftKings is further off. I do think that's a good argument. I would disagree because you talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fear all-time highs. Penn has a lot of catalysts going for it, so I wouldn't worry about that. And DraftKings moves. It hasn't, I mean, listen, the past 2 weeks, it's made a nice move up from like $46, I think it was at.
Yeah.
It might have actually been lower. I just want to take a look real quick. Yeah, so it got $43.50. And so it had a nice move. Maybe this is sell off before it moves back up.
Yeah.
DraftKings will get a better move than Penn from the New York news.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
Buy of his action is MGM still a good hold? I think MGM's a good hold. I think MGM's a buy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So all this stuff, if you look at all the charts, I feel like every one of the gaming charts is in a buy territory. Just do your due diligence and figure out which is the one you like and why, and be confident in that. But they're all looking really good, and I don't think the move's done for any of the gaming stocks.
Yeah, I mean, gaming was one of the kind of sleeper sectors that we said was going to do really well, and one of the sectors that we were most happy about going into the beginning of this year. So, I mean, this is one of those reasons why you can actually see MGM still just chilling in this channel, which, we've been really bullish on MGM too. But as long as it remains in this channel, this still remains a buy zone for me, and to really kind of continue accumulating. And for those of you guys who are in the Chaos Crew, you guys caught us kind of making this more or less a group buy here on MGM. My average on this one is at $30.27. I feel real good about it. So going to still hang on to it, feel bullish about the market and the industry overall. And yeah, it's going to be a good next few months and maybe even next year. On this industry.
Real quick, shout out to J. Joe for upgrading to level 2. And I just want to shout out our top 5 who got here first. We got Sean, Vinay, Jorge, Mash, and Trevor.
Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Speaking of the crew, let me get this out of the way because I know a couple of you guys had some comments about the Discord.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to clarify, so people don't, I think it's getting a little overcomplicated. Here's the deal. We just launched a Discord for our Chaos Crew. So if you're interested in becoming a member, you can click the join button and you will have access to our Discord. Now, we are raising the price of our level 2, which is our public portfolio. So everybody that pays gets into the Discord. We are currently working on getting people over. It takes time. So if you're interested, join the crew. And then we'll tell you the next steps as far as how to get into the Discord. We'll send you a link to get into the Discord. If you are currently in the crew, don't worry about anything else other than this. Go to onlychaos.com and go to ask a question. So if you scroll down, it says ask a question. All you have to do is say, can I get into Discord? So because you're on YouTube, you have to get to us. And so everybody that's already on the mailing list will get an email tonight with the instructions on Discord and how to get in. So that's why you haven't heard from it you haven't heard about Discord. But those that are already in Discord, that's because they already upgraded through the site. So some people like Vinay got in. You're not yet able to chat because we got to get you in first. We got to get your role authenticated. This takes time. And it's another reason why we're not raising the prices till later. There's a lot of legwork that goes back to it. So to be clear, the only thing you have to worry about if you're in the Chaos Crew is going to onlychaos.com, ask a question, and say, can I get into Discord? Simple enough. You'll be then emailing me, and I'll walk through the steps on how to get into Discord.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where it's a bit difficult to kind of like have everybody on YouTube and getting them onto another platform, which is Discord. So it is a little bit of a challenge for us on one end, and we're trying to make it as simple as possible. And so to Fat Man Zoom's point, just make sure you go on to onlychaos.com, ask a question, reach out to him. It'll be a process still. We're just in the beginning stages of this, but this is just how we have to do it for now, and it'll be cleaned up the further along we go. So don't worry about that either.
Yeah, and so as far as questions, I don't want to take any of our time on questions. Thursday at the closing bell, if you guys have specific questions, we can answer some there. But really the best place to ask them is there. So anybody who's already, Vinay, you're already asking me what's the new prices, that is a perfect question to go to onlychaos.com and ask a question. So that can be answered anytime. Right now, let's talk about the markets. Let's stay focused on what's really important because I don't want to lose what's going on in the market today because I know a lot of people are really interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, we got a couple of we'll talk about Netflix in just a sec. Got a couple of donations as well. One from Lil Disnick and Steve Ames. Thanks for the donates, guys. Appreciate the love. Also, Lil Disnick came on to level 1. So appreciate you being a part of the community. We love you guys being part of the Chaos crew. So hit the join button. We'd love to have you. So Netflix, bro. They have earnings after hours. We had Netflix on Stockwatch Sunday. What do you think? I mean, I haven't really changed my mind. I still think that Netflix is probably going to miss. You had them beating this time around. What do you think the overall sentiment, though, for Netflix is going to be after earnings are released?
That's a good question. There is not a bone in my body that thinks this is going to miss. They've missed 3 quarters in a row.
Yeah.
I think it's nearly impossible that they miss. I could be wrong. You're obviously predicting they do miss.
Yeah.
It's going to be devastating if they miss. So that's why if you look at their metrics and their goals and historically how quarter 4 works, they set the bar really, really low. So I feel really confident they're going to beat. But really, the point we've been talking about primarily in the level 3 live trading room is the market share of the other companies.
Yeah.
I don't love the direction of I don't want to say the direction of Netflix. I just don't love the place that Netflix is in right now.
Yeah.
And I think this could be the most critical time for Netflix as far as which way this thing goes. Does this become a dying brand, or do they figure out how to stay on top? And that's a hard thing. Being on top is hard, especially. Here's the thing I don't think a lot of people realize with Netflix. Obviously, they understand why Disney blew up so quickly. But what they may not realize is that Netflix was the clear number 1 before March, and it wasn't even close.
Right.
By anybody's metrics. Disney didn't even think they were going to be able to compete till like 2025, right?
Right.
And that all of a sudden shrunk. So in your mind, if you're in Netflix and your leadership, I'm not saying you're just resting on your laurels, but you're like, okay, we're not going to have competition for years. And all of a sudden, like that, 6 months comes around, and now Disney has a substantial market share. You have HBO Max coming in, and that was only because of COVID.
Right.
So I think they were underprepared for this because I think they thought they had more time. And now it's sort of a mad scramble. And this last earnings was the first time it showed up in the earnings, lack of subscriber growth, lack of conversions. And this earnings is going to basically be the time where, number one, we probably need to see you get back on track. But more importantly, we need to see a good forecast. And we need to know what you're going to be doing to address this issue, which is not an easy question to answer.
Yeah, well, and there's the other part of which is something I've been talking about for the last several months was the lack of original content. Are they going to be able to talk about that? Are they back to recording? Are they coming out with new shows? How's all that going? Because honestly, I think that the biggest way that Netflix has been able to compete is their original programming. So is that something that they've been able to kind of fix? And are they back on schedule with a lot of that stuff? And so I agree with you. I think that's going to definitely weigh on Netflix. And we got Don Frown in the house. He says he's bullish on Netflix. I think we're pretty divided here on in the crew, in the community here in the chat. On whether they're bullish or bearish on Netflix. I will say one thing. There's been an argument that's been kind of coming around too, with Netflix being kind of like, well, it's content that's geared towards adults. So Disney doesn't really have that. And that's where Hulu comes into play. So if you guys don't know, Disney actually owns Hulu as well. So Hulu has plenty of adult, directed content, that sort of thing. So I don't think that that's necessarily the competitive advantage that Netflix has. It's more so that original content, and that's kind of more along the lines of what I'm looking for in this earnings report. Can they overcome that? Are they back on track? And all that good stuff.
Well, the other thing you have to consider as far as adult content, I think that's a fairly, I won't say weak argument, but, think about the consumer. I don't know what the answer to this is, but it'd be interesting to find out when you think about people who cut the cord and buy streaming services. I imagine they don't only buy one. I imagine they probably buy two.
Right. At least.
Yeah. Yeah. So now what's happening with Netflix is like, I think our argument with Disney is when you deal with kids, like Disney is for all ages. So you now have a huge gap, and they have ESPN with sports, and they have Hulu. So they're covering a lot, but they're niche. So there's 3 different platforms that are niche. I think the issue with Netflix is the only niche you could really say is original content. It's not adult content. It's original content because they have kids stuff. They have all that stuff. So you can't underestimate Prime, right? Like Prime is original content, and it's and so they already have a built-in base with Amazon where they have people that they can convert easily. So it's the fight for that main one. Disney, I think, is an easy second one for like it should always be number 2 or number 1. And eventually, I think it will be number 1.
Yeah.
But you now have specialists. We talk about HBO Max is a little bit of a sleeper. Discovery was mentioned on Stockwatch Sunday.
Yeah.
Now that you have these specialists, Netflix has to carve out their own niche. I mean, I think they do, because now you're just kind of like for everybody, and who's going to end up buying you. I don't think it's going to go away. Don't get me wrong. But from a stock perspective and from a growth perspective, what's the incentive? Because I think Amazon in 5 years could be number 1. Just on their base.
Yeah, perhaps. I still think that I see Disney as number 1. But, you had mentioned Discovery, and we talked about Discovery on Sunday too. They are going to be a lot bigger than people realize too, because it's not just the Discovery Channel. They have the ID channel. They got I don't think that is A&E part of Discovery as well. I don't know about A&E, but I know you have the HGTV channel. You got TLC. All kinds of other stuff that fall under the Discovery umbrella that are now going to be on Discovery Plus, and there's going to be Discovery Plus exclusive shows that you won't get on regular TV. So it's just another player in a very crowded space. But Discovery is going to be really big too, I think.
Yeah, and I want to pull up for you guys the cash on hand, because I think that's going to be an interesting conversation as well.
Yeah.
Because Amazon, that's the other advantage they have, is just a boatload of cash. But I want to get those figures. But first, just to give you guys the numbers for earnings and what we're expecting. So $1.35 is the estimates earnings per share. Brad has them missing, coming in at $1.27.
Yep.
I have them coming in at $1.80, and I even think I went a bit conservative on that. So we'll see what happens as far as that's concerned.
Dan says I work for A&E. We on the history. Okay, yeah, that's right. I couldn't remember if it was History Channel or Discovery. Thanks for clarifying that. So A&E is not part of Discovery, but they still have plenty of other channels under their umbrella that get watched a ton. HGTV especially, ID channel, all that good stuff, TLC. So it's still just another huge player in the mix. And I see a lot of people talking about Roku as well. And I think Roku is definitely something that if you're not keen on going after any of these other individual ones, and we talked about this on Stockwatch Sunday too, that Roku would definitely be one to own. And it is continually just going higher and higher. It's almost as if Roku is the catch-all for all of these streaming services. So if you almost kind of want to hedge your bets and almost kind of go after the ETF of streaming services, if you will, Roku seems to be it. And just looking at the daily chart, look at Roku since its earnings. A 196.52 was the low right at its last earnings call, and now sitting at with highs today of 438.36. Just an unbelievable move, over 100% move since its last earnings on Roku, and I think that it still goes higher.
Yeah, and Charlie Connor said, I'll keep my cable until I find an all-in-one alternative.
Might be Roku.
I think that's Roku.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no point in that. Like, that is cable. That is what cable is.
Yeah.
This streaming, I feel like for years, even before streaming became big, everybody was like, why do I have all these channels? What do I need? I'm paying for all of this.
Right.
I don't think any company would strive to get to that point. Roku's perfectly positioned because they provide the platform, and they benefit off the advertising revenue. So I love it as a hedge. If you don't feel confident in one or want to stick with one, I agree with Roku. And I think, you think about all the TVs being sold, like they all have Roku. When you think about the smart TVs, yep. I feel like, I know all of them don't, but I feel like most of them do. I did want to mention, I pulled up the numbers. As far as cash on hand, Netflix has $10 billion, just under 10, 9.8 billion.
That's a ton. That's
not compared to Amazon that has $70 billion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so, I mean, the market cap for Amazon is just so much bigger, and they have so many other things that they have going on other than streaming.
Yeah, so outside of market cap, the point is that if Amazon continues to want to get in this space, don't matter how big your market cap is, they got $70 billion to your $9.8 billion for exclusive content.
Right.
And if you want an arms race, you're not going to win that because Amazon is only growing that at a clip. So the rate at which their cash is growing is far greater than Netflix. And that's the metric to look at. You want rate of growth. Netflix isn't catching them in cash flow. The gap is actually widening. So
Apple too.
What's that?
Apple too. I mean, Apple has a ton of cash in their books as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what makes it hard. Like it's going to make it hard for Netflix to continue to compete. And, it really is going to boil down to, does Amazon feel like the juice is worth the squeeze? And it seems like just all the new content this year that the answer is probably yes. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited for this earnings. I don't love the way Netflix is positioned. I'd be really careful with it. And we talked about before, they have a co-CEO. That doesn't make any sense to me. I think that spells trouble in the future as well.
Yeah.
I think they were just reaching. So hopefully this year some things get figured out, but it might be a tough go. However, technically it's at a decent level if you look at it from a technical perspective.
Yeah, for me personally, the thing that I'm looking most forward to on Netflix is indeed the next season of The Last Kingdom.
Uhtred of Bebenberg.
So looking at this, the market's officially closed. We're seeing Netflix actually get pushed up here. It is now up about 1% after hours, really starting to get a move on. And now it's selling off. It's got a pretty typical action here after the open. It is quite a bit all over the place, but Netflix looks as if there are some sort of earnings numbers out, and now it's moving down. Now it's down below $500 a share.
Really? You think they're out already? How much is it down?
I said potentially out, but yeah, it's down to $491 now.
Okay. So I'm going to try to pull it up on Twitter.
But it's this typical after hours action here, so we'll see.
Yeah, usually it takes at least 5 minutes for us to get these coming through. Usually there's some of that movement after hours in general, but I wouldn't. Somebody has an acronym, like I have Fat Man Zoom, and then there's FANG. Somebody has one that's FANG Mant. It's like the worst.
Damn, that's you could mix those words around a little bit better.
Nothing yet, as far as I see.
Well, we're starting to see some maybe some real movement. It's now back up to 520. What a freaking move! This thing all over the place. 525. So we might actually have a beat. We might actually have a beat. We'll see.
If this busts over $2.
Well, it's at 525 now. 526. It's up 5% now on Netflix.
Earnings per share.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Oh, here we go. We got it. There's. Hold on. They might have missed. But their subs beat.
Okay.
So it looks like they missed by 19 cents. Is that right?
Jesus, look at this thing moving, man. It just shot up to 535.35. Holy cow.
Andre just sold it. Did you just sell it or you sold it before?
I was going to say, I hope you sold it this minute. I hope you sold it while it was up 6% after.
So they got $1.19 a share. Ooh, you're right. They missed.
Yeah.
Revenue barely beat 6.64 billion versus 6.63 billion, but their subs beat, and I think that's what the market is reacting to.
Oh yeah, that's always a big thing for them. That's always a big metric.
I'm trying to get what. Let's see if we can get what the number is.
This thing is wild right now.
So they had expected 6 million net additions for their global subs, and they came in at 8.5, which is pretty substantial.
Yeah.
It's a big increase.
What does that bring their total to? Is there a total amount of subs?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But that's 40% above projections, which is gigantic for Netflix, who's been around for a while.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a large number. Right now, sitting up a 7% after hours is Netflix. Talk about boner candle, man. Damn. Real big move.
Yeah. So, I mean, it might make its way to 550. We'll see how it works. I will tell you that.
That would be wild.
Like we said, technically it looks good.
Yeah.
I'd like to look at the earnings and what they said and if there's forecast or what they're projecting coming up, because I would still be careful with this, from a long-term perspective. Now, again, I don't know what they said. They might have said something great. They might have new content coming out, all the number of things that could be potentially working in their favor. But we shall see.
I was just curious about Roku. Sometimes it follows these. Let's see here. Yeah, Roku's up slightly. Nothing too crazy, but it is up to all-time. Is this all-time highs again on Roku? Yeah, 439 it got up to. So just another crazy move from Roku, just following suit with Netflix, which is still up 7% after hours. It's crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah, this is wild.
But that's a fourth miss in a row for them.
Yeah. That's a red flag. I mean,
I feel as if it's got to be a red flag.
Yeah. But we also had said last earnings, they were talking about original content. They didn't announce it on earnings.
Yeah.
But last earnings they had already talked about, or it had just started back up. And so there haven't been any dates yet, but there has been filming for original content. And that's the catalyst that we've been looking for beyond subs, because that's great. But really the content is what's going to draw subs in the future quarters.
Yeah.
So,
bro,
we'll see.
550 might be coming here, man. It just touched 545.
That's
we have
insane.
a nice super boner, quite a lovely green one.
It was warranted. Damn, man,
Nice.
that is crazy. So highs of 545 even on this thing. That is after hours move of over 8% on Netflix. And it seems as if the only reason this is moving, number of subs. I think that traditionally, though, with Netflix and a lot of these other streaming services, that is the metric for these, which is kind of crazy to me. To a certain extent, obviously, the more you could grow, the more ability you have to be change your model around a little bit to be able to make profit. Having those numbers is obviously huge, but I've never been a fan of grow at all costs. I'm not saying that Netflix is in that boat, but that's just kind of the metric that a lot of these investors seem to kind of follow. We'll see. I think that to your point, I do agree that that's a red flag to miss 4 quarters in a row. But we'll see how these new subscribers end up generating more revenue later on down the road.
So I got some more information that could add to this, makes more sense and gives us more context beyond just subscribers. So they announced that it will be cash flow positive after 2021.
Okay.
Around break even this year, which is always a huge catalyst.
Yep.
That's great. And they're going to consider share buybacks, which it hasn't done since 2011.
Oh, damn. That is huge.
Yeah. So, and And then they did talk about new content as well, investing in new content. So yeah, this definitely looks like
Forward-looking
it's
statements
something
are gonna
simply
be-
beyond just more subs.
Yeah. Sounds like just the outlook is really good here too. So good stuff. Good stuff from them. I wonder how, let me check on Disney. How's Disney doing? I wonder if they fell. No, Disney's green after hours too. I wonder, I was hoping that maybe this would be a good opportunity, perhaps if Disney, reacted negatively because of how, Netflix did so well and increased subs. But it hasn't really faltered at all.
Yeah.
Netflix is still rolling, bro. Still rolling. 544. It's up $40 a share after hours. Unbelievable.
This is I can't wait to listen to this because this is really good.
Yeah, it's great.
But I also wonder, I'm interested to see what tomorrow brings and the rest of the week brings as far as profit taking and if people are in it. But yeah, this is a lot. They're focusing on, they said all the right things. That's great. I like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep timing out.
Oh, no, you're good. So I just see a couple of people that made some real good money on this. Don had 500 calls. A couple of other folks got calls at 505. So really great job, guys. Awesome. Good on you. You guys were able to make some really good money on this trade. Great job. Not mad at you at all for this. This is just an absolutely monstrous run. This might continue into tomorrow, man.
Yeah. I mean, if it stays over that 550, I think it does.
Yeah, let's bring it back out to the daily chart and see what possibilities might be here. So, obviously you can see that I had this marked down at 462 just in case they happen to miss pretty badly. That was kind of like my rock bottom price for Netflix. Obviously not going in that direction at all. And so now looking at the daily, I would venture to say that next stop for this thing, if it gets up over 550, perhaps next stop should be around 558. But then after that, 570 seems to be reasonable if this continues to move like this. And we're just about ready to cross over 550 on Netflix. Holy cow. It's almost up 10% after hours. Just hit 549.
Yeah, this looks good. This looks good. This is awesome. Good job for whoever was in this. This is great.
Yeah, what a move.
It's nice to see an earnings move, not just freaking sideways.
Yeah, not just sideways or just like, it pops and then just sells right the hell off.
Yeah.
This is still rolling, which is awesome to see.
That's awesome.
Also, thank you, Netflix, for not making us wait forever.
I know. I appreciate that too.
It makes for quite a challenge when it comes to filling in airtime. Wait for earnings to show up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so for those of you guys who are in the crew, obviously we did it a little bit differently today. We normally have the closing bell.
Yeah.
We'll be back to regular scheduled programming on Thursday. But the one thing we didn't talk about, and I just wanted to mention kind of along the lines of earnings, is Goldman Sachs crushed earnings today.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that this is the beginning of a pattern just for overall earnings season, what happens with Netflix and earnings. They were estimated at like $7.47 a share, and they came in over $12, blew it out of the water.
Unbelievable.
It actually didn't move that well. It didn't respond that well. But as far as the overall earnings were concerned, to me, I think it's in a great level right now. And I thought that they had a wonderful earnings.
Yeah, JP Morgan too. And this is kind of plays into what we were talking about in Stockwatch Sunday, that perhaps, I thought $12 was going to be enough for people to just start buying the hell out of this thing. But we saw this with JP Morgan about how they crushed it, and then it just kind of sold off. They sold the news, and it seems as if the same thing's happening with Goldman Sachs. But I agree with you, man. I think that usually the bank's earnings are kind of kind of an indicator of what the rest of earnings are going to look like. And I think that not to say that they're all going to just crush it like the banks have, but I think this is definitely a positive step in the right direction, that I think that we're going to start to see some more positive outlooks, especially with the vaccines being rolled out and stuff like that. So while we're still bullish on tech, especially when it comes to like Zoom and stuff like that, I think that a lot of these recovery plays, we're going to start to see some real strong movement out of this. And let's not forget, Yellen was also confirmed, and she was talking about some more stimulus that needed to be added. It was our best bang for our buck, she says. So the stimulus is obviously going to play a big part in this as well. I haven't sold a dime of any of my stocks since last week, and I think that I don't know if I plan on selling too much just yet. I think we're going to continue to move up from here.
Yeah, the one thing about Goldman Sachs that I was thinking about today was, it's not really like they get grouped into banks, and I think people are a little fearful of banks in general as far as investing in them. Yeah. Goldman Sachs shouldn't be really compared to Bank of America or Wells Fargo. It's almost like when you talk about PENN and MGM, like there's not really an apples to apples comparison. I know that there's a part of what they do that is similar, but it's different. Like there's just, and maybe PENN and MGM is not the most apt example. But when we talk about like tech, like when, there's so many different variations and niches inside. Goldman Sachs is a wealth management investment banking company. Yeah. Right. Like, so the market crushing it, the amount of people putting money into the market, they make a ton of their revenue simply off of like IPOs, which are at record levels. Right. And so that's where they make a lot of their money, whereas a lot of the other banks aren't doing the same thing. Their focus is on something different, whether it's mortgages, loans, whatever it is. And so I think that it kind of gets in trouble because it's under the sort of umbrella of bank. Yeah. But I'm bullish on Goldman Sachs. We've always said that's the best sort of in the sector, but the reality is, like, with everything going on in the market, with us being bullish overall, I think Goldman Sachs is going to continue to outperform. I didn't see what they put as their guidance, but they typically beat. Yeah, I'm interested to see what they have for this year because I expect more monster numbers. Yeah,
I do too. And just to go back to Netflix real quick, it blasted right past 550. Now highs of 554.60. Currently sitting at 552, up over 10%.
Yeah, Vincent, why did Netflix go up $50? Have they released earnings? Yeah, if you missed it, they did release earnings. They did miss earnings per share. They slightly beat revenue, but why it's going up? A few reasons. They had their subscribers grew by 40%, so 8.5 million versus the 6 million estimates. More importantly, they announced that they would be cash flow positive in 2021. And then they are considering share buybacks, among other things. And we should, they alluded to original content as well. So all those things, very bullish factors for the company as well. So looking good.
So we got 363 concurrent viewers in here. Appreciate you guys hanging out this afternoon. If you could give us a thumbs up, I certainly would appreciate that. I just wanted to touch on a couple of things too, as far as what Yellen was saying to Congress. She also had mentioned that, and Don brought up a good point, that she seemed to go pretty hard on EV type stuff. She was also pretty adamant calling on Congress to act big with virus relief aid. So this is why we're probably starting to see a lot of movement overall in the markets. But if you guys didn't see, Tesla made a really nice pop after she started talking more about EVs in general. So if you guys are curious as to why Netflix made that move, Netflix back up to 554, by the way, but Tesla made a really strong move back up on the day. Actually looked like it was going to have more of a bleak day overall, but you saw this big pop here right around 1-2 o'clock this afternoon Eastern time, and that is why, because of the emphasis on electric vehicles overall and renewable energy.
Yep. Does Zoom hit 400 this week?
Zoom, I think so. I mean, Zoom, it got so close. The 395 is what it ended up hitting today. I think is what I saw the highs were. Did it get higher than that today?
Not that I'm aware of. It currently looks like it's around 394. Looks great.
Yeah, man.
Looked great all day.
I was almost half tempted to trim off of some of this, but I think I'm just going to hold it. 396.76 was the high of the day. So, I think we see 400 before the end of the week.
By the way, just so everybody knows, a couple hot scooping items. So I'm going to give you guys two options. If you guys are channel members, if you guys want to get the watch list, we're now releasing the watch list to the public. You can go to ownthechaos.com. On the top, it says get the watch list. It's free. We send you out the 5 stocks we're watching every day. If you want to join the crew, if you want to get the private live streams, if you want to be a part of the Discord, click join. You can be a part of that. Where we have all that stuff going on. On top of that, we give you access to the public portfolio, and on and on and on and on. So a lot of value there, guys. But check it out. If you have any questions, go to ownthechaos.com and feel free to ask us a message there, or just write something in the comments, and we'll try our best to respond as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and it's, I was on the fence about making the watch list free, but if I think it's going to be great. If you guys want a free watch list, we've been crushing it with that watch list. You can get it for free now, and you just go to ownthechaos.com, sign up. You get the watch list every day for free in an email, and we crush it. That watch list, by the way, PENN National, Fat Man Zoom, you nailed it. Exactly what happened today on PENN National is what took place. So, really great stuff on that, my man.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. And so you guys know that are already a part of the crew, we're adding, we just did it today, but we now add supports and resistances. So that's the extra value you're getting on top of the Discord. But we feel like the Discord's where the value is going to be. The Discord and the private live streams is always where the value is. Anybody can give you 5 stocks, but it's really beyond that, where we get to answer your questions, get to get you guys to know sort of like your due diligence and make sure that's on point.
I got to shout out Ross Matthews. Just made me laugh. He said, just join the crew. All of you tight asses freeloading while you sub to 17 OnlyFans accounts. Come on. That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys 2 p.m. on Thursday.
Yes,
we'll have
sir.
our live stream. Don't know what it's on yet, but I'd imagine it might have something to do with the inauguration that happens tomorrow.
Yeah, I probably so. I do have a video coming out tomorrow. Just so you guys know, for those of you in the Chaos crew, you already know, but if you're not in the crew, I put out a portfolio for our level 2 folks and up that basically shares how my journey has been going since I started my Webull account at the beginning of September with $5,000. Well, I've built that now up over 21,000 in 4 months, up over 80% on this account, and I go over how I was able to do that. Video's coming out on tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell to get notified when that video goes up tomorrow.
All right, bro. That's all I got.
That's all I got too, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Hit that like button on your way out the door if you wouldn't mind to help us out. We certainly would appreciate it. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for tuning in. We will catch you guys next time.
Free Jack Ma. Nobody's found him yet.
Free Jack Ma, baby. Free Jack Ma. Thanks for the donate, Vince. See you guys later.